Hey guys, it's Dan with the Corporate Thief Beats. You're watching another beat breakdown. The last two videos I created Rick Ross type beats, MMG type beats, and I'm going to continue on because I kind of made a big bunch of MMG type beats there at that time, and I really liked those beats. So here is another one. This one's called Big Dreams, and I'm going to go into the screen share and show you exactly how I did it. I'm going to break down each little section from start to finish, intro, verses, and this is a nice easy one. It's very similar to Rick Ross and The Dream. It has that kind of funky kind of sound. It's a little bit more faster, a little bit more upbeat. Just before I go into the screen share, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and share it with anyone. There'll be links to descriptions and any kind of sounds that I use in the blog post and in the description of the video. So here's the start of the song. As you can see, there's not that much in it. It's very kind of quiet or very kind of short and sweet. Rick Ross and The Dream had a song called Money Dance, and this is the kind of one that kind of inspired me to make it. So we'll just start off with the intro and show you the intro. So this is what it sounds like. Okay, it's just pianos, and I'm gonna go into the MIDI notes of the pianos. It's just a few chords, that's all it is. There's nothing crazy about it. It's just 4 chords repeated over and over again. And I have 2 different pianos playing there. I have a grand piano, and I'll just play this. It's kind of a very deep piano, and the other one's kind of a more kind of lighter piano. That is such a Dream kind of keyboard. The Dream kind of loves these kind of pad type electronic keyboards, and when you mix it with the other piano, you just kind of give it more space in the mix, and plus you give it more kind of energy and more kind of a thicker sound is what we're always trying to create when you layer sounds. So when you add that over, it just kind of gives another sound, another dimension to the original piano. And then I kind of bring in some kind of synths there and a pad sound just to kind of open up the mix there a bit. A sec now. I'll get rid of the mix window. Now that looks a bit bigger now. So it's the same kind of MIDI chords for those 2 pianos, and then the pads all kind of, sorry, that's frozen. So all the pads and the synths kind of have their own kind of sounds, but they kind of do kind of follow a pattern as well. I'll kind of go into them in a second. I'll just let you listen to them first. Okay, that's the intro. It's very easy. It's the pad sound that's that's giving it that dimension and that kind of melody, actually. Not even the piano's not really playing anything. The piano's just kind of the backbone of the song, but the pad. It's the synths that are creating this kind of sound. That synth sounds kind of almost out of tune, but it actually works together when you put them all together. That's kind of like a DJ Mustard kind of bassline synth. I'll kind of show you what so it's just, it kind of plays this kind of bit at the end. This is where it changes up on the second part of that riff, and this is the first part. So the first part just plays simple kind of, so I can see if I can, okay, it just has a simple kind of melody kind of loop, and together they kind of play a nice, little kind of riff together. I'll play them all three of them together. You can hear the just when it's on its own, when each of them on their own, they sound boring and they kind of sound too centered in the mix. I have like tape delays and I have like spreaders and stuff like that on them, on some of them, but like they just sound so boring when they're on their own. It's when you just join them all together in the mix. They sound wider, thicker. And when you're listening to it on headphones, it's nice to hear those kind of sounds float around. But yet again, it's not taking away anything from the intro of the song. So when you kind of play with the piano, and then the drums come in. Let's go to the drums. So before I play, I'll play the intro. So I'll play the first bit of the verse. And you can hear what I'm trying to do now, and you can hear that Dream and Rick Ross kind of sound now, once you've heard all the drums and stuff coming in. So how did I create these kind of sounds? We'll just kind of go into the drums. And you can hear I've doubled up the kicks there. And all the kicks are from producer's choice. I think I use one from the track kit like every beat because it has that sound. I think it's number 5 in one of the trap kits on producer's choice. The link will be in the description, guys, don't worry about that. The snare, so it's kind of just a simple kind of drum beat, and I just layered it. It's like, we'll just play it there. So you can hear what it sounds like. It sounds kind of rigid when it's on its own. It's the kind of percs and stuff that kind of come in together that kind of give it its kind of authenticity. Snare is bust out to give it some reverb as well. I kind of use a plate reverb in. I use a plate reverb in what you call it in Logic, in the Space Designer. I kind of use that reverb all the time, and it kind of gives it Space Designer. There it is. And I kind of use plate reverbs a lot. Well, this time I use just the basic drum reverb. Sometimes I have my own presets, and sometimes I keep stuff like that. This time I'm just using the basic one, and I'm getting the sound that I want. So I have 2 snares layered there. One's kind of like a really heavy snare. It's just thicker sound. There's nothing really complicated there. Boom, bap, boom, boom, bap, boom, bap, boom, boom, bap. And it's kind of just a quick kind of drum beat. And it's only when all this kind of perc stuff comes in that it gets interesting. So we have like a perc coming in now. And that just sounds like another kind of, it sounds like a kind of, it's like a weird kind of snare that I found in a kit. It's probably in one of the producer's choice kits. I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but it just sounds like a kind of a snare that's been kind of heavily compressed. It's a snare and a clap mixed together, and you can hear what they do. And then there's hats then come in. They're just simple open hats. And I've panned one left and panned one right, just to kind of give it a wider stereo field. I've spread it as well in the mix. And shaker comes in then as well. I've spread that as well. I've EQ'd it. I've taken off a lot of stuff, so we can kind of see all the instruments there. So I'll bring in the drums back in again. You can hear the kind of skipping sound because it's created by the shaker and the percs. I think I have some kind of congas coming in as well. No, this is kind of like more of a kind of an Indian cymbal. This is within Logic. It's just a stock sound. It's just a simple kind of sound in the background. It doesn't really have that kind of drastic kind of impact in the song. It's just another kind of bit of ear candy in the back of the ear. And I've kind of added some tape delay there to kind of give it a wider stereo field. And then I put in some congas as well, and I take these out. I leave these play on, and then I take them out in the chorus, but just the verse, you can hear what they sound. This is a loop within Logic I found, and if you listen to that song with the Dream and Rick Ross called Money Dance, this kind of sound is in the background, and this is where I got the idea from. I just cut up the loop, and it just kind of gives a more of a less rigid feel. Like the drums there on their own kind of seem, even with the shakers and stuff, still sound a bit rigid. They sound just a bit too kind of like quantized. So once I stuck in these kind of conga loops, I put some reverb on them, and I put some stereo spread on them. I also EQ'd them a little bit more to make them stand out in the mix. But having them all together, it just sounds, the drums sound really nice then with that conga loop. Just gives it a bit more life, and that's what I was looking for. And for some reason, I don't know, it's just the way the frequencies are playing with each other. Just, you can hear the kick pop and the snare pop really nicely in the mix. And everything sounds wide. Everything has a lovely space in the mix so far. So we'll bring back in the piano and just let you hear with the piano and the synths that I showed you in the intro. And you can hear the kind of sound that I'm trying to create. I'll just take out the pianos again for a second. So I'm going to take out the synths and the pianos because I've got these kind of other sounds. They're still playing the same chords as the riffs from the synths. And I have these kind of other sounds in there just to kind of beef everything up. You can hear kind of a bass there and a pad. This is the bass. It's a stock bass within Logic. And it's not playing anything complicated. It's playing the same as the synths. It just kind of swings together. If I have to be honest, I think this is what I came up with first, the bass and the drums. I just can't remember. I made this beat a while ago now, so it's just hard to remember if I came up with the synths, but I'm pretty sure I came up with the bass first. It just sounds like, when you play it as a bass guitar, it just sounds like a bass riff, and I just kind of copied and pasted that with the synths on a different level. So they're not playing lower notes, the synths are playing higher notes, and the bass is playing the kind of the low C notes. So I added a pad as well, and the pad just kind of gives it another. It just has this kind of dreamy effect within it, and another bass guitar. Then usually I keep the bass kind of sounds together, so I don't know why I have that there. And this is kind of like another kind of DJ Mustard kind of type bass, but it just fits well with this song. Like, just this bass on alone is kind of boring. You kind of have to have that kind of like a very kind of metallic kind of sound in this kind of funky kind of song, and this kind of bass gives it that. And you can see the little trick that I'm doing there. I'm only playing the bass in little instances because there's a little bit of kind of delay and kind of it's kind of tweaks a little bit that synth bass. So I only play it a little bit. So we kind of play everything together there now and see what it all sounds like. So play every one of the sounds. I don't know what's going on there. I just have to click it manually, which takes a little bit too much time, but these things happen when you're recording. Okay, I got that all soloed, and we'll just see if that works now. Yeah, we got it back to normal. Okay, so we just play it all together. And you can hear that synth bass really just tickle the ear in certain spaces in the song. It's not playing the whole riff, it's just playing a couple of notes. It's just playing a couple of notes. It's this little section here where it plays this. God, this is awkward. Never mind that, no. You can hear it there happening. And that's really the verse. I kind of drop everything out. You know the way I kind of create these kind of songs? I drop stuff out, and that kind of defines my verses and choruses. So there I kind of just dropped the shaker, and I dropped that kind of Indian kind of thing, but I'm still playing everything else. And the kind of the chorus, this kind of song really is for a rapper. It's not really meant for a crazy good singer. Like, it's like you have the kind of the funky bit in the verses. The verses are the most energetic thing. Like, the chorus in this kind of song is kind of boring and kind of bland, but it'd be nice for just a singer to sing something simple and not kind of outshine. Sometimes when a singer plays with a rapper, everyone knows the chorus and everyone knows that part, even if the rapper has actually created great raps. And for this one, I kind of wanted to keep the just like what The Dream and Rick Ross did in that kind of Money Dance song, where the chorus in that song isn't great, but Rick Ross's raps are kind of pretty cool, and he kind of shines throughout the mix. When I dropped everything out, it actually sounds really nice when you kind of bring that bass back in, and it kind of just, the kick and everything kind of just snaps back into place, and it gives it that funky kind of sound. So we'll just move the mix out now. And that's the really kind of crux of the song. It's not the most complicated beat I've created, but I just really do love that kind of funkiness of the verses. Like, the choruses are just where I drop things out and drop things in. They're still playing the same kind of song in the then I kind of played with it just like in that kind of song with Rick Ross in The Dream. I kind of played with it for a middle 8, so this is not really the chorus. This is kind of the middle 8, and I just kind of left that really nice kind of E-piano play with the bass. I kind of took out the congas and brought them in and brought them out. So everything is kind of the crux. The verse is kind of the main bit, and everything else that kind of complements it is just taking stuff in and out. So it's just kind of just a loop, a nice little loop, verse loop, but it's a good beat for a rapper because the chorus is not the most crazy thing in the song. You could really kind of rap some good raps to this. That's the middle 8 there. And I took out all the kind of sounds there, just left the piano play. And I kind of did one of my tricks here where I kind of bring the last 3 notes of the synth bass and my one of my synths there. You can see it there and here. They're playing the last couple of notes there, so it kind of slides back into that funky bit in the verse. And that's really it, guys. That's the whole beat, really. This beat was called Big Dreams. It's inspired by Rick Ross and The Dream. And I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. It's a very easy, simple tutorial. And hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll check you out in the next video. I'm just going to play the end of it just to give you another listen.